Welcome to another episode of Talking to Myself, where I talk to myself about topics that excite me. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about dropping your past completely. Why am I talking about this? What does this mean? Let's explore in more depth. A lot of people, most of the time, they experience something and they repeat this same thing in their head multiple times. This can often be the case in like a traumatic experience or something that was less pleasant. Maybe something happened in their childhood. Maybe something they got broke up with their boyfriend, their girlfriend, whatever that may be. Generally speaking, this will be the case where they repeat this event in their head multiple times. You don't know what he did to me, you don't know what she did to me, and they live this in their head throughout their life, and this continuous pattern arises. There's another part to this which I want to bring in as well. When I say drop your past, I'm going to get into this more in depth as well, but I'll just acknowledge it briefly for now. And when I say drop your past completely, I also mean drop everything about you that you thought to be true. So this involves who you think you are, your personality, your name, the stuff that you did growing up, maybe the school you went to, the friends you had. It can involve literally everything you thought about you. Now, this doesn't mean just one day wake up completely, stop being who you are, change your identity, change school, change your appearance, change everything. But what it does mean is don't be attached to that thing that you thought you were, to that view of yourself that you thought you were, to those experiences that thought made you who you are. For example, a lot of people, particularly with professional athletes, say they're a footballer, let's say for 10, 20 years, and that's their identity, that's what made them who they are. They maybe became famous, they made their income, became recognised as the footballer person. But when they retire, they still see themselves as that footballer, because that's what made them who they are. They don't have any other identity, so they still refer to themselves as a footballer or even an ex-footballer. Even though that's not them. They could go 20 years retired and they're still like, yeah, I was a footballer. You was a footballer, correct. 20 years ago. That's no longer you. With all due respect, you are not that person now. And you can't really call yourself that footballer. If you're no longer playing playing as that exact same person, the same style, the same way, that chapter's done. So ultimately, that identity needs to be dropped. Whilst it's all good to have this identity, in the case we'll stick to the footballer. The reason why I say to drop your past completely, in my opinion, and actually in fact I recommend you guys have a listen to Osho, if anyone ends up listening. Osho is like a spiritual leader. He's dead now, but he would have some very profound insights that were not so much mainstream, but they were very very profound and get you thinking. And the thing is, you going back to what I was just saying, you get attached to that view of yourself and you find it hard to let go. So a lot of people, when they've retired from their profession that made them who they were, they feel depressed. They don't know what else to do. They no longer know who they are because that was them for so long. There's no flexibility, there's no adaptability, and they struggle to cope with this after. You see, that's why now a lot of people... You may know the footballer Ibrahimovic. He's about 41 now, and he's like, I don't want to retire because I'm scared of what's going to happen. I don't know what I'll be doing when I retire. See, it's that identity that he's scared of. And similarly, this can also be applied to if you've made a mistake or something as well. A lot of people make a mistake and they replay this in their head over and over again as well. It's not to say keep making mistakes and forget about them. The point is to learn from the mistakes. See it from the other person's perspective. If you've perhaps hurt someone else, you did something to impact someone else, learn from it and become wiser from it. Learn from that experience, improve it, and don't make the same mistake again. It's fine to make the mistakes, just don't make the same one again, because ideally, if you've learned from it, you cannot repeat that same mistake. If you're choosing to make that same mistake again, that arguably is not a mistake, that's a choice. So that's two completely different things. But when you've genuinely made a mistake without knowing what you're doing, become aware of it, adapt it, become wiser, and take a new path. So you at least, even if something doesn't go the way you thought it should, it's not doing the exact same thing on repeat. So how do we drop our past? And let's get more in detail about this now. Because obviously I explained a little bit overall of what I think it is and how I think it can be applied. How do we drop our past? The first thing that needs to be done is to realise that that is not you. What you think is you is actually not you. It's often just a story about what you've been told is you. So a child growing up, if they get told, your name is Tom, you are shy, everyone around him tells them, oh, you're so shy, Tom. Tom, you are this. Tom, you're a great pianist. Tom, you are this, you are that. A lot of these stories come from childhood. Even your name. Your mum or dad or your caregiver says, oh, hello, little Tom in this case. Tom, you are Tom. Hello, Tom. Say Tom. That's your name, Tom. You think it's you. It's actually not you. It's just you're repeating what you've heard from other people. And the same thing. You are shy. Oh, you're so shy. You go to school. Everyone says, you're so shy. You're not actually shy. You've just picked up that because that's what you heard as a child. And as a child, you're a sponge. So you absorb this and you repeat it. Because, as a child, you want to survive. You think this is normal. So you're just trying to find your way along. And you just say it out loud what you've heard. And it's just a story from other people. So a lot of the stuff we get told from childhood is not us. So we actually need to become aware of what is us and what's being projected onto us from our parents, from society, from our friends, caregivers, whatever it may be. So it goes back to the awareness, the first thing. Become aware of what is actually the true, authentic you and what is the you that's been passed on down to you and you think is you. And this can start by observing your thoughts, observing patterns in your life, why you do certain things, and going a bit deeper into them, asking why you do such things, why this thought comes up, why you perhaps getting into the same dynamics over and over again, even why you do the hobbies you do, why you've got the talents that you have, why you have the friends that you have, why you've got the profession that you've got, and keep digging deeper into this, a bit more and more, and observing what feelings come up, what thoughts come up. When did you first think that this was you? Was it from a young age? Did you develop it when you started going to secondary school, to university, to college, whatever it may be? Just basically going on a bit of a journey of exploration. Now, ultimately, the deepest version of you is just pure. It's just like as a child, there's purity. That's the best way I can describe it. It's completely pure and innocent. So that is the true you when you think about it at the deepest level. And arguably, you could say even that a child is just a blob of purity because it doesn't have a personality, doesn't even know its name. But at least you can say a child acts from a place of authenticity in a way, because a child doesn't care if he cries in the middle of public. He just does what flows through him naturally. He does whatever comes through him. If he needs to go to the bathroom, he just lets it out. If they're hungry, they just have a tantrum. Meh, give me food, whatever. So they act in a flow state. So really, we can apply that to ourselves and say the true you is acting in that flow state. What feels good when you're not thinking about anything, when you're not doing what maybe your parents said you should be doing? What feels good to you? Like a lot of, let's say, a child may love to play football, going back to that again. But the parent goes, you can't make money from football. It's not realistic to make money from it. Become a doctor. Just this is a stereotypical case, but maybe the child just loves football. And perhaps, he won't become a professional, but that is his passion. That's what gets him in the flow state. He wakes up every day thinking about it, loving life because of it. And whether he makes the money or not from it, if you wake up every day loving something, does it really matter as much? Versus if you made money from something you hate it, that's not a life you want to live, really, is it? So I would suggest to explore that. What gets you in that state where you're not thinking about anything, where you literally, time doesn't even exist, you're not thinking about any problems. So that is, as we get into teenagehood, adulthood, and our older years, I would say that is the true us in a way. What's naturally flowing through us from the universal higher power. And really, this, like I say, this comes from being in solitude as well, being in silence, which a lot of people don't do. Most people are obviously always surrounded by friends, by people, whether they're kids or their work colleagues, and they don't have that time to go deeper within. And whilst doing this exploring, I would say don't be afraid. You need to go into this unknown. It's going to be scary to drop the old you. For example, you see photos of yourself from 10 years ago. You hold on to them, oh yeah, I used to look like this, I was a good-looking man, good-looking woman, whatever you were. Once again, that's no longer you, because maybe you were slim then, maybe you're fat now, maybe you had hair then, maybe you're bald now, just as an example. You're very different people now. But we're scared to let go of that. Even though we don't act like that, we don't look like that maybe, we're scared to let go of it because we thought, if I let go of that, then who the hell am I? And that scares the living daylights out of our ego. Our ego wants to clinch on, to hold on to the things that it thinks is us. Because don't worry, I've got you, I'll save you, you are this person, no need to worry, no need to fear. But that is not you. You're just holding on to a past version of you, and that is preventing you from excelling, from accelerating, from growing, which that's the ultimate purpose of the universe, of this world, to grow, to get better, to become a new version of yourself all the time. Getting deep again. Technically, you are a new version of you every single day. Your cells actually regenerate every single day. I don't know the exact numbers in it, but the blood, the stuff in your body, the cells, everything in you is regenerating and changing. I think it takes, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it says something like 7 years, and every 7 years, all the organs in your body, all the cells, everything become completely different. Like they've completely changed fully. But also, like I say, every day, even your cells are changing in different, vibrating differently, stuff like that. So, looking at it even from that level, it's not very noticeable, obviously, on a daily basis because it's such subtle differences, and you don't see it. It's more an internal thing. But when you realise it from that point of view, you're not the same person on a day-to-day basis. So I think as well, the second thing I would say to help you let go of your past and just drop it, is to start going into the unknown. This means doing things that you've not done before. This means trying things that, even if it's styles, clothing styles that you've not worn before. Maybe new hobbies that you've not done before. Countries that you've not been to before. Staying in new locations. Start doing things that you think you normally wouldn't do. Maybe you don't like dancing. Just do a dance class. Because now this will actually open your mind up to new possibilities, and you'll start thinking, the old me never likes this. And now your brain's thinking a bit more creatively, looking at new options. You're becoming a new version of you. So step 1, to summarise. Start observing, do some inner work. Do some healing on areas that perhaps you are wounded in. You might have some old traumas, heal them, and start exploring why you do certain things. Start exploring your thoughts, your skills, your habits, your personality, the way you look. Step 2, start going into the unknown. Start doing things you've not done before. Try new friendship groups, new classes, new hobbies, new styles, clothing styles, hairstyles, new places to live, even new diets, literally everything. Your body will be like, what the hell? And the more you do this, the more you go into the unknown as well, the more you'll become a better version of you, and you'll be less attached to the old version of you. And the last thing I would say as well, leading on from that, is know that you're going to be scared. There's going to be fear, but I would say go into that fear. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Because you're ultimately not this body, you're not the mind. You are something greater. You're just, observing this fantastic earth through this body, and you're limiting the growth of the body if you think you have to be one certain way. So feel the fear. Start practice maybe like meditation yoga that will enable you to, feel intrusive thoughts, pains, things like that, and it enables you to observe them rather than feel them and not be able to take action on it. So that's my 2 cents. I hope this helps, and speak to you again.